Marco Polo is a true historical episode of Doctor Who, and one that works really well for me. Now, this is a pretty infamous case of a missing Doctor Who story, likely because it is the very first story that is absent in terms of chronology. While the footage for 97 episodes is lost, the audio remains intact, so I want to be very clear that my review for this episode is of course based on the audio only, and whether or not you consider that basis to judge the episode is up to you, but I will be doing so nonetheless. Now, this story actually holds up really well despite the fact that it is limited to the original audio with some linking narration for nearly 3 full hours. I'm open to the possibility that this was because I wasn't able to listen to it all at once, simply due to my circumstances and what I had going on at the time, but I'm certainly not going to make that claim, and I'm not going to hold anything like that against the episode because I can't say it for certain, so who really knows? And I was really entertained, so I'm happy with it. Even though the story might be my favorite so far, it's hard to say about that, I did find the audio to be a little bit hard to follow at times, and occasionally I would have to rewind it, and I think that might have to do more with how my brain processes things, as I haven't listened to an audiobook in literally years, and just listening to the audio and having no visual to follow, nothing to do with my eyes like when I read a book or watch an episode, I think it was just harder for me to process everything in my brain, and more importantly, equally importantly, it was harder for me to retain that information. But this also might be due to the fact that it was not originally intended for audio form, but was later altered. And, like I said, while this might have a shot at being my favorite story so far, I probably have the least to say about this one. As far as what I enjoyed about this story, I really liked this setting. The music really made my imagination wander, and due to it being audio only, it added a lot. I question how that would have played with visuals, but the fact is I really don't know. I also really enjoyed the addition of the Marco Polo character, whose position in the story worked quite well, and his dynamic with the Doctor and Tegana, and I find that his position in the story, it just worked. And while he did steal the TARDIS for his own gain, I understood him, I understood his position and his struggle and why he did it. I don't think I have anything new to add so far as my assessment of the characters, but it's worth noting I continued to find the Doctor interesting in this one. Also, we found out Susan's age. Susan is 16 years old, which further fuels my previous assessment of her being a child, as I had stated in my last, I've stated that before, I don't know when. The age is kind of a big deal for me, and I had to Google that one just to make sure that I didn't mishear that, but I'm really surprised that I'd never heard that anywhere before. So I'm glad to know that bit of information about Susan, and I will definitely keep that one. I also think it's worth noting that Susan does not want Barbara to leave, meaning that she is already feeling some sort of friendship or connection with her. And honestly, I don't want Barbara to leave either. I quite like her. I also enjoy the betrayal that happens with Tegana and how that kept the story interesting. Also, the key thing came up again about it melting the lock if you use the key wrong, although I don't know if they said it in so many words. So I wonder how long that thread will stay on for, or how that'll get dropped or whatever. I'll just keep my eye out on that one. Everybody getting really exhausted from dehydration was interesting, and that kept the story engaging. Although there was this part where they were saved by condensation, and I didn't see it with my eyes, obviously, but it feels like you need a significant amount of condensation to get everybody up and going again. But whatever, I'm just going to let that one go. So, from the research that I was able to do, there were definitely some white actors playing some non-white roles, which is not okay. I'm absolutely not okay with that, and I wish I didn't have to bring that up. I wish they had just cast the people with the ethnicity that the characters had, but I would not feel comfortable if I did not bring that up. But I also don't like having to bring it up, so I just hope that's not something that we see a lot of in the future, and by in the future, I mean in the past, because this show was made ages ago. Like I said, I don't have as much to say with this one. It maintained my interest for 7 episodes surprisingly well, and I have only one substantial complaint, and I really enjoy the atmosphere and setting of this episode. It's a toss-up between this one and the Daleks for my favorite so far. I think Edge of Destruction could have a shot, though. An engaging stories from start to finish, I'm going to give this one a solid rating of 8 out of 10. If you join me again this coming Sunday, then I will be reviewing The Keys of Marinus, the next Doctor Who story, and one that I have yet to see. I'm halfway through this first season, with only 4 stories left, and I'm quite enjoying it so far. Be sure to let me know what you thought about this episode down below, and I hope to see you again next Sunday, when I give you my thoughts on The Keys of Marinus. Thanks for watching, take care, and have a lovely week.